The Memphis Grizzlies have officially been eliminated from the postseason by the Golden State Warriors in 6 games. Congrats to Memphis on a great season. I got to check them out a couple times live. They got some really great going. If Ja Morant can stay healthy, the ceiling is too low for the Grizzlies. They got all the potential in the world with that young nucleus of Ja, Jaren, and hopefully they're able to keep Desmond Bane around for the foreseeable future. But I got to comment on something. And there are people telling me don't do this video. Memphis is my hometown, whatever. There is no way I can't talk about this. There is absolutely no way I can't speak on this. If you go to my Twitter, @is Mr.Taliaferro, that's the account that I tweet from basketball during the season. I have been raving in frustration about Dillon Brooks for the entire postseason. See, I'm a Los Angeles Lakers diehard, but with my Lakers eliminated, yes, I've been rooting for my hometown of Memphis. I want to see them win. But boy, has it been tough to root for the Grizzlies when I've watched Dillon Brooks for 2 rounds now ball hog. And as the postseason went on, it only got worse. Did y'all watch Dillon Brooks in Golden State? Games 3, excuse me, he didn't play in 3. Games 4 and in game 6, I don't think I've ever seen the ball hogging that Dillon Brooks just did to that Memphis Grizzlies team. And what I mean by that, yes, I've seen guys ball hog on the court many of times. When I played, when I was very bad at basketball, but when I was on the court playing, they ball hog for me, but I was bad. It doesn't matter. They should have not passed me the ball. It's fine. But every level of basketball, obviously you're going to have ball hogs. That's part of the game. But I don't think I've ever seen a guy who was as less qualified to ball hog in the position he is relative to his situation than what Dillon Brooks just did. When the heck did Dillon Brooks become an elite scorer in the league and think he's worthy of taking 26 shots in a game 6? Y'all, listen to me. I just did the numbers really quickly. Dillon Brooks took 76 shots in 4 games. Keep in mind, he missed game 2 because he got ejected 3 minutes in because of the flagrant foul on Gary Payton II that ended his season. So he misses game 2, gets suspended for game 3. So pretty much, Dillon Brooks only played in 4 games and averaged 19 shots a game. In game 6, you can literally watch the body language on the Grizzlies court. As a matter of fact, during one of the timeouts, Jaren Jackson and Dillon Brooks actually had a little bit of a squabble over there. They were getting into it. I don't know exactly what they were talking about. I can't read lips that well from the broadcast. But if I'm Jaren Jackson, yo, bro, I was one of the best players on this team. We were at our best when I was active and, like touching the basketball on offense. Dillon Brooks was literally not passing it to no one. If Tyrus Jones got that ball up court and gave it to Brooks, let's say with 18 seconds on the shot clock, Brooks wasn't passing that ball. You can go back and watch the game. When Brooks got the ball, Desmond Bane sometime would put his hands on his hips, knowing he wasn't going to get a look, knowing he wasn't going to get the rock. Some guys were starting to walk back down court when Brooks had the ball. Dillon Brooks' ball hogging took a toll on that Memphis team offensively. Now, they still played their behinds off on defense. But Dillon Brooks destroyed that team psychologically, his own team, because of his ball. And he did it in Minnesota, and it only got worse. And when Ja went down, holy moly, he took it to a whole nother level. Dillon Brooks, to me, coming out of that series, is an even bigger storyline than Ja being out due to injury. I still believe, all in all, the Grizzlies could have won that series against the Golden State Warriors without Ja Morant if Dillon Brooks plays a little bit more of a team concept. And if he couldn't figure it out, if he's going through his own struggles, I would have liked to see Memphis Grizzlies head coach Taylor Jenkins pull Brooks out of the game late and allow some other guys to get some minutes. Memphis has got some capable guards. When Ja was there, you could have went Tyrus Jones and Ja in the backcourt. I love that, by the way. When Ja was out, you could have went Tyrus Jones, DeAnthony Melton. I thought Zaire Williams gave him some really good minutes in his postseason. Memphis got options. They got guys you could have put in the two. You could have played big boy basketball with Tyrus and Desmond in the backcourt. There were multiple options that Memphis could have used, but Taylor Jenkins, for whatever reason, would not pull the plug on Dillon Brooks. And for anybody out there that's going to scream to me, well, he plays defense, go watch the tape. I got all game footage because I obviously have some rights with the NBA or whatever. Dillon Brooks did not play lockdown defense on whoever he was on, whether it was Jordan Poole, he had Clay a good portion of this series, and he had Steph a good portion of the series as well. The Warriors just missed shots. They have been unbelievably bad shooting the basketball. That was not great defense from Dillon Brooks. He had his moments, but all in all, the Warriors just had an awful series shooting the basketball. That wasn't about Dillon Brooks locking anybody up. That's not the Dillon Brooks who locked up Steph Curry in the play-in game a year ago. That wasn't him. This Dillon Brooks thought he was Tracy McGrady. I don't know what was going on with Brooks. And also, I followed Dillon Brooks coming out of Oregon and watched him rise to a really good player and a hard worker in this league. When he came into the league, he didn't have that awkward jump, that sorry player jump on his jump shot. It was more of a shot that he didn't really hop off the ground much. He's got to fix that this offseason. Now he's kind of like hopping on the shot, and I feel like he's getting a little too much air under the basketball. It's getting arc, but maybe even a little too much arc. He missed a crap ton of shots, wide open looks, especially when Ja was there the first game or so of this series. He got looks. He just couldn't connect on them. Dillon Brooks ruined that Memphis team offensively in this series, and they still had a chance to win games 4, game 6, games 1, obviously, and they won game 2. The only game that the Grizzlies weren't in was game 3. In my humble opinion, Memphis was the better team more minutes of that series than Golden State. It doesn't matter because the Warriors took care of business on their home court. But I'm sorry, there is no way I couldn't at least say something about Dillon Brooks, and he took aggression too far. His ball hogging is what I'm calling it. I will say this, though, closing this video to give Dillon Brooks some credit. I got to say this. 24 hours before, we just watched the Philadelphia 76ers lose on their home court in Game 6. Though I think Dillon Brooks ball hogged, I think he ball hogged. I would rather lose with the way Dillon Brooks went out than James Harden, who was afraid to touch the basketball. I'll say that. I got to get it. He went out swinging. He said, guns are blazing. He's like, I'm going out swinging and shooting. And boy, did he shoot. And he shot, and he shot, and he shot. When the game started, I was talking to one of my partners, and this was actually the game where Dillon, I think he started out like 3 for 6 from the field. He actually got a couple to go in game 6. He had been struggling. He was more times than not, he was starting the game like 0 for 3, 0 for 4, 1 for 5, ridiculous stuff. But in game 6, he actually started out 50%. He was like 3 for 6 from the field. And I told one of my partners, I was like, oh no, unless Dillon Brooks has found the stroke, which I could tell by the way that jump shot was looking, it was just luck that he got a couple to go in. I was like, this is probably going to be the worst thing for Memphis because that dude then saw a couple go through the bottom of the net. He ain't no shooter. All right, he ain't a Steph Curry or Klay Thompson. Ja, when he sees one go through the net, that might mean a good night for him shooting. Desmond Bane's one of the best shooters in the NBA. Obviously, we know Klay and Steph are 2 of the greatest of all time. When they see shot go through the net, that usually means a good night for them. That means all facets of their game is going to be working. For Dillon, the way his shot's looking right now, I said, oh my gosh, he's never going to stop shooting. And what did he do? He never stopped shooting. And I really believe he took some bad shots that helped cost Memphis. Wasn't the only reason why the Grizzlies lost Game 6, but it was a part of it. And you could tell it was a big piece of this puzzle for Memphis. It was an awkwardness in that room. I watched all their post-game interviews. Guys were beating around the bush like, yo, Dillon's our guy. We love when he plays well. It was the elephant in the room, how many shots Dillon was getting up and how he was ball hogging on offense. I never seen him play like that in my life. This postseason was bad. It kind of caps off what was a subpar season for Brooks, even though it was a great season for the Grizzlies. He was hurt a lot of it. Memphis really got it going with him out of the lineup. People talk about Ja going out, but they got it going with Brooks out of the lineup. Ja had a spectacular season, so nobody's going to look back at this season and say Ja wasn't great. He was phenomenal, even though he couldn't finish the season. Dillon, on the other hand, at around $11, $12 million a clip from Memphis, is interesting. Because in my world, like I said in my previous video, Desmond Bane is, to me, clearly the player with more upside, younger, super strong, and I think he will be a good defender in this league. It's not like he's not working hard. I believe Desmond Bane's going to be a good defender, already one of the better shooters in the league. Desmond's got more upside than Dillon Brooks right now. And if I'm Memphis, I want to build around Ja Morant and Bane and Jaren Jackson. That's the three. Everybody else is replaceable. I like me some Brandon Clark. I would love to keep him around if I'm the Grizzlies. You got some nice pieces like a DeAnthony Melton, who would be nice to keep around. Guys like that. I think DeAnthony Melton's like one of Ja Morant's closest friends. Maybe you want to keep that brother around. Tyrus Jones. For some odd reason, that brother looked like he got San Antonio Spurs written all over him. I think the Spurs are going to make a play at Tyrus Jones at some point soon. I don't know if they'll be able to keep him because he's got such a great assist-to-turnover ratio. There's some questions in Memphis, but it starts with the question marks around what the heck happened to Dillon Brooks this postseason. Why did he think he was Tracy McGrady all of a sudden?